The truth that nobody tells you about trading is that even if you learn daily narrative, even if you learn the proper execution strategy, your trade is still not always going to happen when you expect it to happen. Even if you know where the market's going to go, that doesn't mean it's going to go there when you're trading it. And oftentimes it's actually going to happen when you least expect it. And that's why in this video, I'm going to be covering one of my favorite concepts that I used to trade with, the trade recap from the trade I took yesterday, how I managed my positions, how I managed to still execute on this trade and catch the full move, and the lessons that I had to learn from yesterday's trade in terms of that trade not always happening when you're expecting it to happen. So without further ado, my name is Marky. I upload 2 times per week on this channel, and usually I only do trade recaps on the Full Send Traders YouTube channel. I'll link it right here, so if you guys want to see more videos like this one. But the reason why I'm posting on this channel today is because it's a more educational and lesson based trade recap where I teach you guys more about what actually came into finding this narrative and executing on the trade, because there's a lot of lessons that I learned from yesterday's trade that I thought it would be very helpful for a lot of beginners to absorb. So with that being said, for context, my favorite prop firm is Legacy Funded Futures. That's the one that I mainly trade with, but in this video you guys will also be seeing me trade on my live account and on 2 Lucid accounts which I was copy trading. The reason why this is important is because one of those things that I battled with when I was starting off was managing multiple accounts at once on the same trade, because when it comes to futures nowadays, you have a lot tighter drawdowns. You're going to want to use a different execution strategy than on your live account. And on my live account, I also had to humble myself and drop the lot size in order to catch the full move. Because I wanted to make more profit on this massive move, I kept entering with tighter stop losses, bigger lot sizes, and that just continuously took me out. The only position that actually survived from the very top was a 0.01 position that I had left overnight. And the only reason that single position survived is because I didn't care to move it to break even. The stop loss was going to be like $20, $30, so that didn't even matter for me to move it towards break even, and I just left it running, versus the larger position that I placed in that same exact spot. I went break even before I went to bed. I woke up this morning and you guys will see it literally came up into that fair value gap right there that formed, rebalanced it, and then ran all the way down to the target. And as a result of me using that bigger lot size position and moving that stop loss to break even, I ended up not capturing that full move. So let's hop straight into the charts and let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the trade that I took yesterday. This trade came from London session. Now I was already looking for this during Asia session when we opened up and started running down. Where were we running down towards? That was this monthly level. Now, I don't know why I have it labeled as an immediate rebalance. It's actually a no wick. And what that means is that every candle has a no wick. Like every time you look around at a candle, you'll see that almost every single candle has a wick. But on certain candles like this one that just opened, like market opened just now, we don't have a wick for today's daily candle. This is exactly what happened on the monthly candle when we opened yesterday, right? The market opened after the weekend and we had all these war news. We opened and instantly began to expand up. As soon as I saw that we opened without this wick, I was already keeping my eyes on this area. And let me pop up my Telegram so you guys can see my exact executions and what I was saying yesterday in terms of my narrative. So it starts off by me saying market open is going to be lovely today, right? I'm expecting the market to absolutely run up. Market opens and I see that insane buy side, and that's exactly what I comment on. However, I say monthly candle has no wick, so we will be coming back into it at some point. And I'm saying this 27 minutes into the open. So this is the open right here, like 27 minutes into it, just about when this candle was closing. And that's when I started seeing that pullback. And I said, looks like Asia session's heading for that no wick. So already from this point, I had my eyes on this area. And every time I'd get confirmation, I'd be looking for a trade for this area. Now take a look at some of the trades that I actually executed on my live account. You can see here that the total P&L right here is $169, right? And this is a pretty fresh account, and even though it's $169, I made right here $250, $140, $16, and $190. So on all these positions here, just about like $600. So I was in a little bit of drawdown because of me actually executing on my live account. Now I also want you to pay attention to this level right here. This is a sell that I executed on right here from 5,408 down to 5,266. So let's take a look at the chart and find out where 5,408 is at. That was executed right here. And this is also where I entered another position with 0.05. And the reason why this is significant, because with the 0.01, my stop loss was like way above the high right here. And when I initially entered that 0.01, my stop loss was also somewhere above this high. But after we got this move during London session, I moved my stop loss to break even on my bigger position. Just psychologically, I didn't want to take a loss on a bigger position overnight. And you can see what happened here during New York session is we ripped up back into this area. And if you guys zoom out and see what this area is during London session, we created this 30-minute FVG. We ended up respecting it a few times and then running up and closing with the candle bodies inside of it, but the wicks were pretty big. And this ended up coming up, taking me out at break even, and then running all the way down to the target that I was aiming for. Now again, what is this target that I was aiming for, and why did I then catch buys from it? Let's go back into the Telegram and look at what I said. So monthly candle has no wick. It looks like Asia's coming back for it, and I'm sure the buy side is going to be massive after that. After that, no wick is going to get taken out. And you guys can see when this no wick was taken out, we got a ton of buy side. Why does this happen, guys? Because when there is no wick on the candle, it's the same thing as like a fair value gap getting left behind. It's a magnet, and the price wants to come back and make sure that there's nothing left behind so it can continue higher. The narrative we can all agree with is bullish, right? We had this huge war news, and gold is a safe haven asset. Whenever there's war, people are going to be buying gold and it's going to be flying up. So if it wants to go up, it doesn't want any inefficiencies to be left behind. And we can see here that we left an inefficiency behind because we opened without a wick. So when we finally got that move, and you guys can see I had a second position on this trade. This is what I wanted to show you guys. Second position was 5,334. Now this one made me a little bit more because it was a 0.05. But look at the difference in the actual like volume. This position ran from 5,408 to 5,266. This one, 5,334 to 5,283. Now that's still an insanely massive move, and you wouldn't normally be making $254 with a 0.05. But that's just the way that gold's been moving. And let me show you exactly where I executed. So let me take a look at this again. That was this morning, 5,334. Pretty much when I saw that we were running down and creating this IFEG right here, it was this exact move. We got a bullish move, and this is now in the morning after that big massive move. We created an IFEG, we came back up into it, and 5,334 when we tapped back in, that's exactly when I was looking for that entry. So we ended up tapping in and running all the way down to my profit target, which was monthly no wick right here. So that's why I got out a little bit earlier at this first area, because we started finally pulling back out of it. And I was already expecting tons of buy side, so I ended up closing this position a little bit higher. But then the other position got closed pretty much all the way at the bottom right here. Because it was a 0.01, I didn't really care about it. I let it run just a little bit longer before I closed the position. And from that point on, I turned around and started buying. Now my buys came in a little bit later, and I was actually talking with my brother for this position because I was looking for confirmation. And he was already in. He entered like as soon as it happened because he's in my Telegram and he saw me say that the no wick happened. He was already looking for that trade. I, however, know that it's a monthly level, so it takes some time for it to actually get out of that area. So I only ended up entering with a bigger position, 0.15, when we ended up running and closing above an IFEG. And in our text messages, I was like, nah, you're good. I literally just entered the position. We ended up expanding out of this area, and I closed another position right here with the 0.15. It was all three of these positions right here, securing just about $200. So that was all the positions right there. And then I also took this trade on my Lucid accounts, putting me $700 on both of the copy traded Lucid accounts that I have right here, leader and follower. TradeC is an amazing platform, by the way. I love how you can copy trade your accounts. And those are pretty much the accounts that I executed off of this 30-minute gap right here, down to the monthly immediate rebalance, and then buys away from it. So that was a little trade recap. Every candle has to have a wick, and this doesn't mean that like when it forms a wick you should instantly buy. Just like I did, you look for confirmation. Honestly, even though my brother like ended up getting a better execution than me and entering a little bit earlier, I still think that it was very risky because the market could have kept ripping down lower. It usually does whenever it creates a wick on a candle. There's no limit on how big the wick can be. You guys can see that some candles have massive wicks, just like this one. So it could have had no wick and then run all the way down to create a bigger wick. Fortunately, we only got a small little wick right here. And so he got a good position. I ended up executing a little bit later when I got that confirmation and caught another move. So now we have a new day. I'm obviously expecting continued buy side because now we do not have a monthly inefficiency. There's no magnets for the price to then want to come back down into it. So that's all for today's video, today's trade recap. No wick candles are extremely important. If you guys see that no wick candles are left behind, just like this one, it typically will come back down into it. When it creates that wick, however, that is a great opportunity for you to get into a trade, because now there's nothing left behind, no magnets for the price to then want to pull back down into before running higher. That's why no wicks are one of my favorite concepts to trade with, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. Be sure to drop a comment asking me any questions you guys have regarding the no wick candles, and if you guys took this exact execution, let me know in the comments as well. And any of the other concepts that I also trade with, like this IFEG that I use for confirmation. Remember, I usually do these trade recaps on my Full Send Traders YouTube channel, so if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be put on the top right of the screen. Go check out a video from there. And without further ado, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.